It's NFL draft week. We are off and rolling. Last night was the mock draft. Tonight is the Q&A. We're going to give you a special preview of what is tomorrow, which is when both of our draft boards drop on NFL 33. They're going to be free and unlocked for everyone, downloadable in PDF. You're going to get it all. And then on Wednesday, happy to be able to say this. It's been, I don't even know how many years running. One of the most fun things that we do every draft cycle is we have a draft summit with the guys from KCSN, and we go through the stuff that we both did in parallel and didn't talk about the entire draft season. It all comes together at once, and you guys get to watch it on Wednesday night, the night before the draft. So make sure that you're here, like, sub, hit the bell. This is RGR Football. He's Dan Harms. I'm Ryan Tracy, and this is what we do when the Chiefs aren't playing football games. So this is the culmination. And Dan, it's just been a good year in terms of getting a lot of things done. But the minutes in the day seem to get less and less and less every season, right?
Yeah, I didn't feel all that stressed until like the last week and a half of before the draft started, be put into play, and it kind of snuck up on me a little bit. And then we're like, oh, we have things we have to do and get going. And sometimes it's tough when you don't have all the people that you would like to have on to help get all the grades in, because we could go deeper at positions if we had more people. But we do what we can, right? Like that's at the end of the day, that's what matters. And that's what we bring to you guys. And I will always be honest, it's not going to be as comprehensive as others out there in terms of length, an amount, but it's going to be our true, honest opinions of these players. So it's always a fantastic time. I'm excited for you guys to see once again the draft summit with the KCSN guys. It was a lot of fun. There was lots of laughs, and this is what we've been working towards the last couple of months. And it's about to be paid off, guys. It's about to be paid off.
It is. And we shouldn't sell your work short, my work short, or anybody's. In the end, we have done as many prospects as we need to. Brett Veach has 221 guys on the board. I don't have that many.
No.
And so, they've obviously done 1,000 or so and removed them from it. So we do the same thing. There are guys that don't make our boards. And just to give you a preview tomorrow on NFL 33, you're going to have access to this and Dan's. They look the same. There's just a difference in the title, so you can tell them apart. And we'll go through it. And Wednesday night and all through the draft night, we will use our boards to tell you where we would go. It doesn't mean that even the Chicago Bears, who all descend from the tree of each at this point, doesn't mean they're going to look the same. They're actually going to look very different, to tell you the truth. But we're going to use it. And you can follow along. You can mark stuff off. You can print it out. I have people that take Sharpies to it every year just to make check marks, because that's the way they like to do it. You guys are more than welcome to do it, and it's going to be free on NFL33.com. Get over there and get ready. Patrick, appreciate you. Thank you.
Sorry, go ahead. My bad.
Were you going to Minotaur?
No, I was not going.
Because that's where I was going. If you want more, there's always little clips. And I'm going to throw something like Stream of Thought that I recorded the other day into the members group. You can get that thanks to Minotaur, because he's gifting you memberships. You're going to get some random. 10 of you are going to get random. Hey, you're a member now.
So awesome. Thanks
to Minotaur. We appreciate you, Minotaur. Always support the channel, getting more people involved. We love this process, and you guys make it go largely because of everything that you just did. And I know you had a comment too, so I want to start with that before we get to the questions. But Dan, you had something first.
We do have breaking news.
Oh,
the Chiefs have extended Mark Donovan, Brett Veach, and Andy Reid as of right now. They just extended them. It dropped 4 minutes ago via the Chiefs Twitter account. So that is breaking news. Yes, Christo Swag, you are right. Let's see here. I don't know if I have actual details yet, but they did say that they extended them. So everyone that was saying that Andy Reid might retire, everyone saying that Travis Kelce was going to retire last year. These guys are here for the long haul. So appreciate the shout out there, Christo Swag, so I could see it and look for it. And they have been extended.
Hey, I love that. And to me, it just reaffirms that this isn't just about last season. It's not just about trying to triple it here this season. It's about history. It's about going after the Patriots, going after being that in that conversation of like the best franchises ever in a given time frame. So I am all here for it. That it makes me feel more confident that that's what's on their mind as well. Do you agree?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
They've understood, like they understand the assignment, right? They understand the assignment. This is their time. They've won 3 Super Bowls. They won back to back. They're going for a 3rd straight Super Bowl next year. They have their chance to etch this team in the history books. It's kind of already there with one of 5 or 6 teams that have ever gone back to back. It's already there. They can go in a step further once again here and get back to a fifth Super Bowl since Patrick Mahomes has taken over as quarterback. Isn't that insane? It's insane.
My God, just imagine that. I now still make this argument. We'll talk about it more in the offseason. We won't get too bogged down here. But Jeremy, I'm glad you enjoyed checking it off. That's the way I used to do it, and I still, if I wasn't on streams, I'd be doing it that way too.
Right, exactly.
But I will continue to make the argument that a three-peat gives them enough, because it will be so many Super Bowls in so many years that getting the three-peat would put them on an even keel with the Patriots. In my mind, I know the volume's different, but 3 in a row's never, ever, ever been done. So we're going to see how
right there.
Yeah, it's just too good. Jesus, I agree with you. Very good. Tatum, nice to see you back, buddy.
What up, Tatum?
Glad you're doing well. You guys are going to get a taste of another friend who isn't able to be on tonight. We were trying to work that out. Our guy, EJ Holt, did all of the DB reviews for us this year on film. Contributed for the 3rd season in a row to the draft guide. EJ's hopefully going to join us. He says he's good to go for some of the draft coverage. So you're going to get a 3-man team here at times. So be prepared. I'd love to get Jeff and Gary on, and we'll try to make a crew of it like we always do. But in the end, we're going to be running down every dang pick just like we always do. So we'll try to arrange a little Avery appearance for you guys as well. I know how you guys get. So, we'll see. If nap time works out, you never know. Do we even nap anymore?
No. I mean, it's pretty much alone time. She goes upstairs for her own alone time to kind of unwind, but rarely does she nap. It's more of just doing what she wants to in her room.
Okay. My teenagers call that life. Doing what they want to do. Okay. Franklin, is it possible and worth trading up for Marvin? And that's a great question. I appreciate you asking it. If you want on the show tonight, folks, you see what Franklin did? He put some question marks at the beginning. It helps me find them, especially. Dan's better than I am, but it helps us both. And if you definitely want on the show tonight, we're going to answer every single super chat. That supports the channel, and we're definitely going to give you the goods if you're asking questions tonight. So either way, get those in. I'm really interested. Do you think pick 4 gets Marvin?
Yes, I do.
You do?
I think the first. I think it's going to be 3 straight quarterbacks. It doesn't go that way all the time, but I do think specifically because of this draft class, it will be 3 straight quarterbacks. I don't think the Patriots are moving. I really don't. I think it's going to go 1, 2, 3, and then it's going to be the Cardinals. That's my opinion. My
second question is then. Well, shoot, this is going to be a 4-parter. Do you think it's worth the effort it will take to get the Cardinals to back off of 4? I can't see the Cardinals coming down from 4 to 32 is my problem. But would you see the Chiefs doing it? Is it worth it for you to everything you'll have to give up? It'll be multiple number 1s, multiple 3s at least. No.
And that's not because Marvin Harrison Jr. isn't a great, fantastic generational type wide receiver. You guys read have the draft guide. You see in my notes, generational player. Like he is. I truly believe that. And he has room to even get better because the NFL is different. Like he's a really physical player. I think that he's underrated in terms of creating separation. He was oftentimes thrown into coverage. Oftentimes. Just go watch any type of OSU tape from last year. The problem is you're trying to keep this team going for years. It's not a one player fixes everything. It's a drafts fix everything, hitting on free agents and multiple drafts, and like the Chiefs have done with their defense. They need to start doing that on the offensive side. It needs to inject youth. It's not trading all of your draft picks for multiple seasons to go get one player and all right, you're good, you're fixed. No, Patrick Mahomes is that player for them. Took 1 extra first round pick, right? In the 3rd. So that they've done that already. They don't have to do that for a wide receiver.
I agree, especially a wide receiver, because you got to have 3 of them on the field at all times. The longevity isn't the same as it is. I would support trading up into the teens for a tackle. That is generally, if your evaluation is correct and you land the right guy, it's a 10-year player. You will have to pay a second time, but that is a decade's worth of investment at there. I can't always guarantee that, even with the best receivers. There are some that will make it. There are some that won't. I never thought Devontae Adams would move. Did you?
Yeah. No.
There's always these things. So I think positionally it's a little bit different too. And just before we move off of this, because I want to get folks, if you want the draft guide, it's still available. We're running all the way up till it'll be available after the draft too. So if you just want to recap what the Chiefs get, but it's over there. Use the code RGR. You're going to get a discount. And I want to make sure more people use the code because we've had a ton of sales this year and not enough usage of the code. It's like 50% of last year. So please go to Rogue APC, get the draft guide. It's $20. You'll get a chunk of it off. RGR is still running right now. I'm not going to take that off for RGR fans. So we're going to leave that. That's always going to be there. But one of the things that you're going to notice is how, and when the boards drop tomorrow, we're going to have some differences, I'm pretty sure, in our quarterbacks. Not sure about the top 3. We'll find out. But the question to me becomes, when I first heard about what the Washington Commanders did, I was like, it's basketball dudes running this team. They just don't know what the hell they're doing. But then I realized there was more to it and that the visits were staggered. And if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, the Washington Commanders had 4 of the top quarterbacks in at once. At once. They had an event. They went to Top Golf. I do that stuff all the time, like when I'm trying to meet with people too, right? It's a good place. And it does a couple of things. And then they had staggered meetings and stuff. So it wasn't all like everybody in the same room all the time. But from what you know of it, did you like that approach? Is it something different and outside the box, or is it just craziness?
I think it's frustrating for the players specifically because you're trying to have real one-on-ones. And I'll be honest, teams can't do that either. If you're having 4 guys, you can't give them the proper attention that they require for these 30 visits. You can't realistically do that. So I understand maybe trying to see who would handle it the best. Like, I understand that. Problem is they also have agents. They also have other people on their teams, in their personal teams that don't appreciate that don't think it's the best. So I didn't find it to be very instructive personally, because you're not going to get that true one-on-one time. You're going to be trying to juggle one-on-one time with 4 players in one day. That's not the best way to go about the situation, in my opinion. So, and again, I don't even know what was asked. I don't know what everything that was done because we're not on the inside, but I didn't feel that it was the best solution.
I agreed with you until I found out that they actually had individual sessions. Even then, they staggered them through the day. There was at least some separation. But I love the Top Golf thing because it puts them in a competitive situation against each other. Something they're never, ever going to do, but lets them go at it a little bit. I miss Avery.
I'm a dinosaur.
Oh, you are a dinosaur, I'm telling you. You were the rarest of dinosaurs ever, the blonde one.
Yeah. Blonde dinosaur, that's right. She can't hear you because
I know. I always forget that. Oh, it's always fun. Just tell her she's awesome.
Hi.
All right, guys.
So
we got to get
I
cooking
like
here.
the concept. We do. I like the concept, and I think that it's interesting. I think that will determine that particular situation may determine if Marvin's at 4 or not. I'm interested to see. I wonder if somebody doesn't back out of taking a quarterback. Is my only point.
Yeah.
Metal. Hope you're doing well. Could the Chiefs think of possibly grabbing Sinnott, in the 3rd if he's going there, or Theo Johnson, or maybe grabbing Sinnott in the 2nd? Sinnott is not a 2nd-round player. They should not think of taking him at 64. I don't know. I have not reviewed your board yet because it's still a semi-mystery to me. But I am not comfortable with Sinnott at that area. I think I have him near the bottom of the 3rd. And so Theo Johnson would be about a round behind. So I think that they could do either. But no, I don't think any tight end other than Brock Bowers in this draft is worth making maneuvers for.
Use it.
You take what you get when you got it. And I don't know that Avery agrees or not, but
I don't know, man. She's the big fan of purple. Green and purple are her favorite colors. So for all I know, if you put this player on the TV, she's going to be like, yeah, let's get that guy. I do have Ben Sinnott in the second round, like a little bit late mid-ish area, but I'm not of the opinion that Chiefs should be taking a tight end on day 2 at all. Honestly, I don't know if they should take one at all until like round 5. Use one of your 5th round picks on a tight end, fine. But they have, in my opinion, too many holes otherwise on day 1 and day 2, unless you're going to trade back and justify maybe using one of them there. That's just
like if you ended up with a 4th top 100, but it was just
Green
on
and
day 2, I could
purple.
see that maybe. Green and purple. Yes, I agree. Sometimes that's a bruise. It's definitely a dinosaur. Saw your mock on Sunday night. Thank you again, Metal, before the Q&A, and I am with you on the pick, but do you really think Sweat will fall to the 3rd round or lower? Absolutely. He's down there from everything that I've heard from everyone around the league. He is likely now not even an option in the 3rd day. In the 3rd round, he will be a day 3 guy.
I'm with you.
I think it's value. I think it does come with risk. I thought Keandre Coburn was probably the most solid and the least risky of prospects coming from Texas last year. I liked Moro Jomo more, but he had a possibility of not living up to his floor, right? And so you never really know. Let's be real. I'm sure there's UT fans out there. Texas ball has always had a reputation of being a little soft because they take care of them boys, right? And they get out in the real world and it doesn't always work. So I don't know that the Chiefs are even thinking that that's a liability that they're willing to take a risk on again.
Yeah, I'm with you. What's going on? What up?
Damian Keith, nice to see you. Or whoever's running.
I'm going to assume it's Damian.
I'm hoping so too. Let's see. Okay, so Metal, I got you. Thank you for your questions, bud.
Thank you, Metal.
Appreciate it. Steve, what are your thoughts on good athletic linebackers the Chiefs might be interested in the lower rounds? I have some favorites. I always watch linebackers like intently because I do feel they can help you if you have weakness in the front 4. They can help you in completely different body types. If you have some safety issues, that kind of thing. I was the primary on the linebackers this year. Dan, do you have anybody that comes to mind, or I'll go through them?
You can go ahead and go through them. This was your area. I'm gonna let you do it.
You Mizzou fans are gonna like it because Tyron Hopper's an athlete. I don't know that he's gonna be able to survive, especially on first down, but he's a guy that can play teams for you, and he can grow into possibly a backup role, maybe even a fill-in starter from times. And I think the body type's there. I think the armor on his frame is there, and I do like what he brings to the table. I also really like I always mess up his name, Ulofoshio from Washington.
Yeah.
The best athletic matrix in this class is the Washington linebacker, a guy that I think is probably destined for more of just a team's role. Both of them would be mid to late day 3 for me. I think they could both do it. The guy that's the wild card for me is Ford from Texas. Like some games, I'm like, hey, look, he's actually reading well and he's attacking and he's where he's supposed to be. And others, I'm like, what the hell is he looking at? So I just don't know. But they're all athletes and they can all run. And I think the Chiefs can train them up. So that's who I'd be.
I like it.
Steve.
I like
Terry.
it.
Nice to see you, buddy. 136 days to the Chiefs home opener. Yeah, buddy. Run it back again. We're just going to count them down. It's fine. Caroline, nice to see you. Thank you again for all of your efforts to get with me this offseason. Now that it's going to be post-draft, we're going to connect it, and maybe we can put a plan together. I'm hoping. What are your thoughts on the safety class? Do you see us picking one up day 3? What type of safety the Chiefs need for backup roles? Like a box, a free, a Tyke Smith. I do like Smith a little bit. Y'all rock. Thank you, Caroline. We appreciate you being here, and with the questions are great. I have my druthers. I'd like to know what you think safety-wise, or even if it is a safety that you'd like to play safety.
I mean, I don't really know if they need a specific type of guy right now. Like they can just kind of pick and choose, because even if it is a box kind of guy like Brian Cook was coming out, they still make them into what they want. They have their types of players, because right now, last year, look at what Justin Reed did at the end of the season and the postseason. He was a box kind of guy. He came down and played in the box, and he played against tight ends, and he was, again, doing some of that. So they like versatility. They like guys that can come out and do different things and be athletic and give you multiple things. I'm a big Kaitan Oladapo guy. I love Oladapo. I think he's going to be a tight end eraser in the NFL, in my opinion, and he's hugely athletic. So you can still put him at split safety. He's not a liability at split safety. And he's not going to be a single high guy, but he can come down in the box. He can be physical. He will come downhill in the run game, and he will support in the run game. He will tackle, and he will hit guys. Like, I love that type of player, but also like a guy like Mark Perry out of TCU later on day 3 is enticing. A really athletic downhill player that click and close is like 0 to 100 really, really quickly. And he's athletic as well. He offers some versatility. Yes, those are my NFL media combine credentials. But
that's official.
Right? They can do a lot of different things because they do a very good job of coaching these guys up. So I don't think there's a specific guy in mind. They have an open mind at safety.
I agree with you. And I think that they've shown that they have the propensity to do a little bit outlandish things. Nobody saw Chamar coming. I will say this. It took me until maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago to really just come to grips with this, because the pro was waiting on the pro day to correct something for me, and it didn't do it. One of the surprises you guys will find on my board when it drops tomorrow is I don't have Kamari Lassiter as a corner anymore.
Okay.
I think he can play a robber safety role and make me really happy with it. If he has to drop down, he can be good to 8 yards probably as a nickel. Initial in the snap, I think he can survive that way and play in space otherwise. I like him. I really like him is the problem. Just tested so bad, I can't leave him at corner. So he's a guy that I think could fall for a number of significant teams, maybe significantly fall because of the testing. But that's only if you're stuck on him being a corner.
How'd you feel about his tape? How'd you feel about him playing against wide receivers when you watched his tape?
It depends on who it was. When he was up against elites, he struggled at times. He can get crossed over more than I like. I do think that he has the ability, maybe playing a little bit off, that may help him. What I really did like is when they dropped him into zones.
No, I can't hear you, sweetie.
I have a good feel for it from what I saw.
No.
And that tells me that playing in space isn't going to be a terrible issue. And so I'm willing to make that gamble, take him later in the draft and move him. And that's, I think he brings the tenacity that I'm looking for. And I think he understands the game. I think his feet just aren't what he wants them to be.
And that's the thing for me, is like, I still have him in the second round. I trust his mind, the way he sees the game. I think that is where you're drafting him. So teams like the Chiefs probably aren't going to have him on their board as a cover corner, because that's not really what he is. But teams like, Seattle, or even the Eagles, who play a lot. I mean, I think the Eagles with Fangio. I think the Eagles with Fangio are going to play more cover, zone coverage. And when you have the teams that do play the majority like that, I think he's still going to be on their board pretty high. But also, just like I said, with the mind stuff, you said slot safety kind of makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I hope. I just want to see him land somewhere. The other guy that I on day 3, Cam Kitchens, I think is going to be a 5th, 6th round pick after it's all said and done. You got to rebuild his confidence, in my opinion. But I still think there's something there with a minimal investment.
I'm with you. This draft process has not been kind to him.
No. And it's funny. It's been that situation for a number of Kalen King's in the same situation, right?
Yeah.
Like it's been a come to Jesus for a lot of guys. Who are the realistic teams the Chiefs might try to trade down with? Okay. Trade down. I mean, I feel it's more opportunistic to trade down with the Cardinals than to trade up with the Cardinals. I love the concept of only moving back a few picks into the top of day 2. Do you have any targets that you'd like to go get?
I mean, not really. It's really more of if someone's trying to come up for a quarterback and only a quarterback. Because if someone's trying to come up for a tackle, you don't say yes. You hang up the phone. If someone's trying to come up for a wide receiver, unless again you don't like the one that you're at right now and you think you can still get him a little bit later, then you do that. But if it's a tackle, you just don't say it. You just say you hang up. But if it's a quarterback, I'm probably all in for that. Like, just go ahead and come up if someone wants to come get Michael Penix, or if they want Bo Nix at the end of the first, or even Spencer Rattler, which I think would be a little rich for him, even though I'm high on him.
You are.
Talent is – all it takes is one, like they say. It only takes one team, right? Yep. And that's, at the end of the day, what would matter. So I don't have, like, a team in mind, but there's probably going to be somebody at the end of the first calling, saying we want to come get Bo Nix, Michael Penix, if they're still there.
Yeah, I tend to think so as well. I mean, and I wouldn't even put it past the Cardinals, to tell you the truth. If you go get Marvin Harrison, are you sure that you're going to stick with the salary numbers that Kyler Murray has? I don't know. Monty Ossenford is not like the most open book, right? Like, I don't know where they're at on their evaluation. Do you have?
Are you trying to tell me that you think that the Cardinals have a better grade on Bo Nix or Michael Penix than they do Kyler Murray, even with his number?
No, not a better grade. I think it's all about the salary numbers. I think eventually they might look 2 or 3 years from now, we have to get out of this contract. That's what I'm thinking.
I understand that then.
It's all a toss. I have Penix probably higher than most do. And I don't think I buy the Raiders stuff, but I think like you said, there could be somebody at the end of the first that wants to come up and get him.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jeremy. And for another one, in what circumstances do you think the Chiefs would opt to trade down? If they're in another Felix situation where their first round grades are all off the board and they haven't been able to trade up and they haven't been able to get calls back, hopefully there's a quarterback. I can't see anybody really coming up for anything but a quarterback. Can you?
No, not really. I think Washington might come up for a tackle if the tackle class has not been, picked over, but they would have to get in front of the Chiefs to do that. So it wouldn't be them. But I don't think that there's any situation outside of it being a quarterback or, frankly, a defensive player. If someone wants to come up and get maybe a cornerback or something like that, where I still think the Chiefs would be, if it's the best player on their board, they still might be opting to take that player. But also, you have to kind of understand where they're at offensively, and they need multiple players on offense, and they just might say, okay, we'll go ahead and move back and kind of sacrifice that.
Yeah, I agree. And the Toledo kid, I mean, you look at a fit. If all the receivers go and all the quarterbacks go and the tackles are coming off the board, if the Chiefs are going to trade up into like the upper teens, it might be for Quentin Mitchell. That's a distinct possibility. So we're just going to have to see how it goes, Jeremy. See, honestly, how the trickle down comes, like I tried to do with the mock last night, is like take it slow, like pick by pick, like we're going to have to do on Thursday night.
Yeah.
Patrick, are you guys doing anything special as a live draft event? Yes, just like every other year, we will be live start to finish all day on Thursday and on Friday. And most likely, because we just really can't say no, we'll probably be live the whole dang day on Saturday too. I mean, saying, hey, we're going to take a break, but
I mean, that's day 3 is tough to be live the entire day. Usually we get on a little bit before the Chiefs pick and we stay on a little bit after, and then we take a break, especially with them only having a 4th, 2 5ths, and then a 7th, or is it a 6th? I can't remember exactly, but we'll see.
Good gaps. Yeah, we're definitely going to be there for you on day 3 as well. But day 1, day 2, we will be rail to rail the entire time, breaking it down for you. And we will identify not only what's good for the Chiefs, but what are the other players that haven't been taken that might affect the board in general. Minotaur, again, thank you for gifting the memberships to folks. We really appreciate that. Caroline, favorite wide receiver stat to look at when evaluating them?
I mean, favorite, it probably is yards per route run for college players. That seems to be one of the most that translate to the NFL. But I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I look at stats when I'm evaluating a ton. Like I'll go and look and see numbers for like just pure, I guess something to compare it to. But like people like yards per reception, I don't care. Like if your offense is with Michael Penix last year, okay, you're going to have a pretty high yards per reception because they just sling it down the field. So it's based that kind of stuff is based off of offense, and yards after the catch can sometimes be misleading, especially if you're getting a bunch of wide receiver screens or things like that. So it's for me, I don't have like a favorite stat, but if I had to pick one, it would be yards per route run, because that seems to be the one that translates the best.
Yeah, and it's all encompassing, and you get a little bit of everything, so you have less variations. I'm a little bit more picky. The first thing I look at is if a guy's drop ratio, if his drop percentage is over, like, good Lord, 16, 18%, it's automatically a day 3 guy for me. I won't move him, period. I mean, if you get to that point, your number one job is to catch the damn ball. If you can't do that 80% plus, I'm not drafting you. I'll put you on the board because somebody will, but I won't. That's okay.
Yeah. You guys will find that I don't care much about penalties or drops, if I'm being honest. Like, that kind of stuff doesn't bother me.
The other one that I look at is generally like, what is your ability to make guys miss? It's not just yak, like you said. Sometimes that can be misleading.
Mm-hmm.
It's how many tackles do you break? How many one-on-ones or one-on-threes can you win? Whether it's contested catches or forcing missed tackles, your elusiveness, that whole thing. I wrap that up, and that's part of the production value that we put in the draft guide, because those are the metrics that I want to know. Like, how are you affecting after the ball's in your hand?
That's one of the most important things about this draft guide that others don't give you. It's a fully comprehensive playmaker matrix. Like, that's not something you're going to find elsewhere. And that's why we do this with the film grades, with the athletic matrix, and the stats and the player matrix, like the playmaker matrix, because it gives you so much more actual context, because you can miss things with stats, pure stats, or just film. You can miss a lot of stuff. Here it's different because it's fully comprehensive. It's a legitimate breakdown. That's why I love it. That's why I love doing this every year.
It's my favorite part about it too, because Phil, you can fall in love. I've fallen in love. I'm telling you, it will, at least if you're gonna fall in love, and this won't stop you, but it'll make you a more informed Cupid doll. You know what I mean? Like, you'll understand, hey, there is a weakness in X, even though I love this guy's film and I'm gonna take him wherever I'm gonna take him.
For sure.
And I think the teams need that as well. Thank you, Caroline.
Appreciate
Jonathan, what are your guys' thoughts on trading up into the early 20s and trying to get Brian Thomas from LSU? Would you wait till later for a wide receiver? And love the crazy mocks last night. Oh, I'm glad you did. That was kind of fun. I felt guilty doing it, but it is what it is. 2 number ones, Dan. It was a scenario that would make you cringe. It was a YOLO thing. I couldn't.
You know that I don't care about that. 32 and 32 next. That don't bother me.
Okay. Would you do it to go get Mr. Brian Thomas?
No, I wouldn't do it to go Brian Thomas. Mostly because I have, a day 2 grade on Brian Thomas. Like, I have a firm 2nd round grade, and I understand why people are high on him. I get that. I've learned my lesson to an extent about prospects and trying to not just go based off of guys that run down the field and catch a lot of touchdowns for teams that are vastly better than everybody else. And Jaden Daniels throws the best deep ball in the class. So, like, some things I try to take into consideration.
I agree. And when I watched this film, the thing that made me keep him in the first round, he is wide receiver 4 for me, folks. It's not like I have him above the big 3. For me, it was those times where he either had to, break off a route and had to come back or something. It's when he had the ball in his hands and he was in contact, like I was just talking about, when he had to make people miss. He's shiftier than most give him credit for. Everybody talks about the long speed and the deep balls, but in short area, he can make guys miss and he can elongate plays, maybe not to the house, but he can turn things into first downs and chunk plays and get to the 20 to 25 range. And I do appreciate that. Hopefully I'm right as it goes on. And if not, then I'll owe you a beer. That's just the way it's going to go. Minotaur, a lot of information dropped so far this season and a lot of film watched. I can't wait for this draft, and I want to watch these guys perform next year. I do too. Thanks, y'all, for the coverage. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Being so generous to all of the other non-members to get them into the memberships. Very kind.
So great. So great.
You're like the patron saint. I should do the little, what's the Pied Piper thing? We should do that with Minotaur. I need a graphic. Somebody will make it for us. Justin, I just heard we are a potential team trading for Justin Jefferson. What black magic is this? It's a lie.
I was about to say it's called fake news there, Justin.
I mean, let's be real. Would the Vikings ever give him up for less than 3 number ones? I mean, they could probably stick to that price and get somebody to consider it. Like, I never would, but I think depending on where you heard that from, I mean, if there's something going on, if there's some broken, I know there was some concern about Justin's desire to stay with the organization with the whole Cousins thing and all that. And now that he's moved on, like maybe there is some break there that's turning into a, hey, we have to move Justin now. I don't know that to be a fact. If it was, then I would think maybe, but that's the only wedge that I could really see. Is there something I'm not thinking of?
At the end of the day, this is going to come down to money. He's going to get a contract probably, if not this year, like this offseason, next year for sure. And it's going to be close to quarterback money. We're talking starting with a 30 per year, probably. Yeah. Like that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So any team that wants to trade for him is also going to have to give up 3 first-round picks, probably, and then pay him $30 million a year. The Chiefs are not in business of doing that. They already offered Tyreek Hill $25 a year, or $22, $23 million a year. And he said he wanted more. So they said, bye.
Yeah.
They would not trade for a receiver asking for more than that.
I can't see that either. And maybe the cap blows up and maybe this is just a different situation in 12 months or 24 months. But I agree with you. And I would still argue, had it not come down to the money, Tyreek Hill would be a better receiver in this offense, given the experience playing with Kels and with Mahomes, than Justin Jefferson would be walking in anyway. And they wouldn't fork it over for that.
Correct. Okay.
We are of the same mind, my friend.
It's okay because Tyreek Hill's coming back after next year anyway, right? Like,
well, yeah, I mean, there's always an opportunity, right? Just don't burn down the house and make it that far, and you're going to be fine. Justin, I hope you're doing well, and not trying to poke fun at you. I wonder where these rumors come from a lot of times.
Yes.
And maybe there's something to it. Anybody can get a divorce from their team. Sometimes it just takes a conversation. I don't know. Kevin O'Connell seems like a pretty good guy to play for. I don't know. I've never had a conversation with him, but who knows? People get pissed off for crazy reasons. What guys would you say are sleepers in the day 3 range that could be like the Pacheco pick this year and be major contributors next season? And also, what are your thoughts on Legette from South Carolina? I'll let you handle Legette because I'm grumpy about him.
I love Legette. I love him. He's one of my favorite players in this draft. He also has the best accent in this draft, by the way. You guys, yeah, I love his accent. It's fantastic. And if you guys don't know what it is, go look up just some interviews with Xavier Legette. You'll know what I'm talking about. But he's growing as a receiver. I know he's older, and that's a lot to do with the COVID year and just not being involved in South Carolina's offense for most of his career, and finally being involved last year when their number 1 wide receiver went down and he was asked to be the guy, and he showed up. He was a deep threat. He's physical. He has really good body control. Obviously, he's still learning the ins and outs of how to manipulate zone and manipulate defenders, release packages, all like the fine-tuning parts of playing wide receiver that you need at the next level to really be elite. He's lacking some of it. There are flashes every now and then of moving guys, but in terms of what he does physically, speed-wise, and playing through his injury last year. He played through a calf injury, and he also played through a calf injury at the Senior Bowl. He was still fast. So he's probably a little bit faster than he probably tested and played at last year, which is encouraging. So there's a lot to like, and there's also a lot of scary things, because he didn't do anything until last year in his college career. So I understand both sides of the argument. I really do, but I'm a big believer in what he put on tape against some very good corners in the SEC last year.
Yeah. I mean, that's legit. And the good thing is that he put it up, like you said, against good competition.
Yeah.
I feel like there's too far to go for him to be a major contributor early. Maybe by his second contract is my thought. And that's why I'm just not high on a first or second rounder on him.
He's kind of like Willie Gay. He's kind of like Willie Gay.
Like all the potential's there, right?
Yeah, that's how it feels, because you saw flashes from Willie at Mississippi State, and you see the same out of Legette. Like you see a lot of that, and these guys are actually built pretty similarly. Like they're 6'1" plus 220 pounds, and they're fast. They're all over the place. And then you're like, what are you doing sometimes? It's like, what are you doing?
You don't have to do that. As far as the Pacheco pick, I have a couple of guys that I really like. I'm a sucker for the underdog, so I like Lob in the 6th round, that kind of thing. I'm all about that.
Andy Reid's deal runs through 2029. Anybody that thought he was anywhere close to retiring just got a big old shove it from Andy Reid.
Right?
Whoa, 2029. He's now the highest paid NFL coach, NFL head coach. That is
wow.
Hell to the yes. That is fantastic.
That is. Yeah. I mean, folks, this is the anchor point for the dynasty. The Mahomes contract runs, the Reid contract runs. That's what else you need. I mean, that's the basis.
Yep, you get everything else done.
So cornerstones are there. Dan, ignore the chat that I just sent. I'm just trying to record the time that we found that out. So.
I got you.
Not a big deal.
Also, for me, Tyrone Tracy is that guy. Tyrone Tracy, I've seen it a couple times in the chat here. He is tomorrow. I'm going to put out on Twitter like a Dan's dogs list that I'm going to run through.
I like that.
Maybe, and he is one of my guys. I love him, and he can actually be a 3-down player in the NFL. He already pass protects among the best in this class. In this class, he's a fantastic pass protector. He played wide receiver. He's a good receiving threat, and he creates yards as a running back. Last year was his first year playing running back, and he creates yards. He creates them for himself.
Yeah.
Yes. I want the Chiefs to draft this guy as the next Jet McKinnon if he's not in Kansas City. Even if he is, you draft him and you say you do this because I think that's what he could be.
And he does have speed. I think he's Matrix 3. So
he's one of the most athletic running backs in this class.
Yeah, if it wasn't for Garendo, and I have them both in the 5th, so I think there's value there on top of it. Yep. You guys know me. I won't take a top 100 running back, but the 5th, I'm certainly for it. The other guy that I just think is criminally underrated,
Blake Watson.
Oh yeah, him too. Not the guy I was thinking of, but the guy that's criminally underrated and completely forgotten about is Will Shipley. And I think you plug him into this offense. I think he's smart and explosive and understands what to do. And I think he would help the pass game immediately.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Jonathan. Appreciate you. Blackbird just saw a mock draft where we trade up to 19 using 32 and 64 for Worthy and Fautano. If you gave up 64 just to go up to 19, I would say you got robbed. And Fasciano going 21 and 20. Okay. What are these?
You should be able to get Worthy at 32. Like, I don't feel like he's guaranteed first round pick.
He's not on my board.
I'll tell you what these drafts are doing. It's Monday before the draft. They're just throwing shit at a wall. And hoping for something to stick. That's exactly what it is.
I have Worthy in the 55 to 60 range on my board.
Okay.
So I wouldn't do it. I would ask the same question, Blackbird. What are they doing? Des, nice to see you, buddy. Patrick Paul at 32 or Kingsley Suamataia? I think I know where Dan's at. Yeah, and I agree. If for nothing else, then Kingsley's floor is higher than Paul's. Paul might have the athletic ability with training to surpass him, but the floor is there. You're going to get something viable out of Kingsley. Yeah. I do think it's a little early for both of them, but that's what most of the mocks are doing right now. I don't think the league's going to do that. Thank you. Appreciate you as always. 14 months, buddy. Right here.
Fantastic.
Hits me right in the heart, bro. Cody, most likely position drafted in the first round: CB, O-line, or wide receiver?
Most likely. At this point, I'm with you, Ryan. It's offensive line.
I agree. I'm starting to wonder if value versus positional rank, if the second option isn't defensive tackle.
Oh, I agree. It's been that way for me and for us. I think for the large majority of the offseason, and I only say that cornerback is there if the value's not there anywhere else. That's it. That's literally it.
I have a confession to make. When it all got said and done, and for a concern here or a concern there, I got pretty stingy. I have 21 first rounders. I only got one corner in that group.
Oh, okay. I have 21 first rounders as well, and I have 3.
Do you? Okay. All right. That's the only reason I bring that up, Cody, is like I'm a little more concerned about that. Like, could Johnny Newton fall to 22 and the Chiefs could go up and get him? I think that's a realistic possibility. So I won't dissuade that. I know we got to speed up, Dan. How much do the Chiefs have to give up to get to 14? Oh, 14. Isn't that the Saints?
I think so.
They got fish to fry, man. You're going to have to get
They're not moving.
Yeah. I mean, you'd have to pry
They need both tackle positions because I don't know if Trevor Penning is going to be playing at tackle in the future. I don't know, man. I really don't know. And they just had Ryan Ramczyk retire, essentially. His knee injury is not going to let him play.
Oh,
so
did he?
He's not actually retired, but it's worse than they thought it was. Like, he's not playing. So I don't know, man. They got some problems.
Yeah, I just don't think they can afford it. I mean, unless there's too many problems now where they're like, hey, we got to trade back and get something else. But again, at 14 to 32, I don't know that most teams are going to be willing to do that. I mean, you can't compound that pick and make it worse by not getting someone to play tackle. I don't know. Roger, thoughts on Troy Franklin? You were high. You were the highest on Troy to begin with, way more than me and more than most that I know. Did that survive the draft cycle for you?
No, it did not survive the draft cycle. He's my wide receiver 9, and I did a full breakdown on him, Roger, on RGR Football. There, you can just search Troy Franklin RGR, and it will come up with the film room that I did on him actually a few months ago now at this point. But just a quick, he's my wide receiver 9. I've got him in the later second round right now. And a lot of guys moved up past him specifically for one real reason. You blow on him and you can move him. Like, you can move him with air. You can't do that in the NFL. You can't be weak. And he's very, very weak.
I wouldn't even call it weak. He just doesn't have any mass.
That too.
It's not because he's not willing to fight you, right? It's just that he doesn't have the girth.
He's also not that willing to fight you. He's really not.
I don't know. I've seen him battle a couple of guys that maybe I just saw the games that he really gave a shit about. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what it is. Like, on an every down basis, you need to be able to fight the guy across from you. Like, you have to be able to. And especially if someone's going to come up, just go watch him against Jabbar Muhammad. That is the closest to an NFL cornerback, physical wise, that he's going to see. And he lost every time that he was physical with him. Just every time.
Yeah. It's tough. I have him still right around where you do. I had it as a coin flip between him and Ricky Pearsall, depending on what you need, because they are so drastically different. And I think there's some overlap. I think Ricky can play outside. But between the two of them, I'm guessing you have Ricky much higher.
I don't actually. Ricky's still, I think people are really starting just testing. Like, he tested great, but I didn't see a ton of that on his film. Maybe I should go back and rewatch him because I still have him in the mid-third. Like, I still have him back there.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I have them 8 and 9 respectively. Scuba. Thank you, buddy. Nick Wright said that Jordan Morgan may fall to 32. Is that possible? He might be there at 32. I don't think it's a fall, but that's
it's definitely not a fall, especially considering he's an interior offensive lineman.
We both think that switch to guard is a necessity.
Yeah. And it's not because, like, I think he's going to be a very good player. I think he could be a type of all-pro guard, but that's what he is. Like, I don't think he's a tackle. I just don't.
And I know he was playing through injury last year. I just didn't see enough that made me say he's going to get fully healthy. He's going to be okay with the arm length. It just bothered me a little bit. I don't know. I don't count against guys, but it is a possibility. That said, Joe Thuney's got a significant injuries coming off of. If you drafted Jordan Morgan, it would be like a value Fautano pick for me. Like, I want to see Fautano on this roster. He can play inside. He can play outside. Morgan can play. If you really were in a pinch, you could put him outside, right? Just like everybody wants to do with Joe Tooney at the time.
Yeah.
But if Joe can't go, he's a guy who can slide into left guard and I think be very serviceable very quickly.
For sure. I'm with you there.
Just trade Wilson. Are they going for Rodgers' predecessor? I think that they are. And maybe it may be Bo Nix.
That wouldn't shock me for Sean Payton's offense. Wants to get the ball out quick, intermediate, not necessarily a deep ball offense because his deep ball kind of sucks. And
use his legs, though. Get
Yeah.
a little bit of a trap. Yeah.
Yeah. That makes sense to me. But I think that Bo Nix, I said Sean Payton because I was going Broncos. My apologies. I think that the Broncos would be a little bit more of a better fit for him. And
Agreed.
the Jets got rid of Wilson, who's a better athlete than Bo Nix. Just,
Yeah.
I don't know, man. But at this point, his mental state was why they got rid of him because
there ain't nothing left.
it's over.
Yeah. I've made the comparison of another quarterback in this class too.
I know you have. You're not the only one.
No? Okay. See, I've been even less watching or listening this cycle than the last few years. I'm a little out of it as far as what everybody else is seeing. But yeah, I think that was more about the Broncos than it was about the Jets. But yeah, the Jets could replace, get a backup, a successor for him. But I don't see them doing that early. I don't think it's going to affect much. I think they'll pick somebody up when they pick somebody up. I mean, honestly, for them, if you're going to take the time to train somebody up, I'd take a gamble on Pratt, put him behind Aaron Rodgers and let him learn from him. I mean, I think he's got enough arm talent, and I think he's smart enough. He needs to bake for a while. What do you guys think about the Chiefs bringing in Dez and Legette in for a top 30 pick pre-draft?
I assume he means Devontae Walker.
Yeah.
If you're taking Dez in the 4th round, cool. I'm down. If you want double dip and he's on day 3, I'm down. Because he's got real vertical speed and he can catch the ball downfield every now and then. And I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
And we talked about Legette because again, I believe that you could probably get him at 64. I think you might be able to get him at 64. And I'd be as happy as a clam if they could get him at 64.
It's funny that you bring this. Yeah. It's funny that you bring this up, Tatum, because exactly what Dan said. They're literally back to back on my board in the late 3rd. I think you can get them at 64 very easily. I'm not sure at 95. The problem for the Chiefs is the Chiefs bring in guys in the 30s and then they never draft them. And then they draft dudes that they didn't even interview at the combine. So the only problem for us is that the 30 visits don't necessarily give us an insight.
No, they just want information and they want to throw us off the scent.
Yeah, and they're damn good at it. Son of a. Is Dan cooking a draft day special meal? That's a great question, Lee. And if he is, I don't get none because we're not together this year.
I'm not. I love the draft, but I don't have time in the day for a special thing. If it's not planned for Thursday, it's not happening. I made beef bulgogi tacos today for my dinner, for my birthday dinner. That's what I made. And beef bulgogi tacos.
Bulgogi,
Korean
what is that?
It's Korean. It's a Korean. So it's a Korean marinade. It's got ginger, garlic, soy sauce, brown sugar. You throw it in a bag for 4 hours and then you cook it and you make some sauce and stuff like that. So yeah, that's what I made for dinner tonight. And
sounds yummy to me.
Yeah, they were delicious. And I put some chopped up pineapple in there too to give that little sweetness and acidity. It was good. So yeah, if it's not on for Thursday, then it's not going out of the way. I would love to, but I don't have time.
Yeah. We're going to, again, just to recap, folks, boards come out tomorrow. I'm going to give you a rundown of my guys on the board tomorrow. Then it's the draft summit with KCSN guys on Wednesday night as we prepare for the next day. I think I have 6 or 8 radio hits set up for Thursday afternoon before the draft.
There you go.
I ain't going to be cooking nothing. I'm going to be eating by a can probably. So just not my day. Thanks, Lee. Nice to see you. Lontavius, nice to see you, buddy. Love the content. Thank you, sir. Since Ryan always does the mock draft, Can you give us your number one wide receiver, tackle, and running back, please? And Ryan, man, you trip on a Freaky Friday. That's the whole point, bro, is to get freaky with it, you know? I don't know that I'd do it, but hey, I'll roll the dice.
I mean, are you talking about for pick 32? Like players that I would take there?
I don't know. Maybe.
Okay. How about I do this? I'll do a real quick, my overall, and then who number one for 32. How about we do that? So my overall tackle is Olufushanu. He's my number one tackle in this class. Jonathan Brooks is my number one running back, and Marvin Harrison Jr. is my number one wide receiver. But for the Chiefs at 32, I think my number one guys I would want them to take are Xavier Worthy at 32 for the wide receiver. It would be, at this point, probably Kingsley Suamataia at 32. I don't think he's going to last to 64, but you would have to take him at 32. And I think that most guys are going to be gone. So realistically speaking, if they're going to have to reach a tackle, that's the player I don't want them to reach with. And then at running back, I mean, the guy that I want the Chiefs to draft is Tyrone Tracy. That's who I want them to draft. If they're going to take somebody on day 3, if it's going to be earlier than that, we start to get in the weeds. But it would be Marshawn Lloyd if it was earlier than that. I think Marshawn Lloyd in this offense, one cut ability, hit a crease and go, is very, very valuable.
See, in my perfect world, what happens next is that tomorrow night, about 11 p.m., Jalen Wright gets hit with some kind of infraction, falls down the board. Chiefs get that's the. If you happen to be in Knoxville, folks, let's make this happen, okay?
He would be the finesse running back to the powerhouse that is Isaiah Pacheco.
Yeah, I mean, if I won't make a comparison to an ex-Chiefs running back that was screamingly fast and was able to weave.
Don't do it.
But I like the similarities.
It's a disservice.
It is a disservice, and that's why I won't say his name. Sorry. What's the view? Final view of what the Chiefs do? Move up for wide receiver, offensive tackle, stay with the pick, or trade back? Great question, Jeremy. What's your feel tonight on Monday, knowing we have a few days to go?
I think they're going to stay and pick. What I would prefer them to do is trade down. But again, you have to have two to tango. And I think that there's going to be value at 32 this year where they're more comfortable than they were last year.
I think the league is stubborn, and I think it's stupid. And I think somebody's going to let them trade up, and they're going to go get somebody. I just don't know who it is.
Love to.
It only takes one team, right?
That's right.
That's my gut tonight. We'll see if that's the same on Thursday. Cody, would you be mad if the Chiefs got Thomas, Bryan, Baker, and Brooks?
So the problem with this scenario is that those are your picks 1, 2, and 3. That's the problem.
It'd have to be, right? It
would have to be. There's no situation where Jonathan Brooks is on there in day 3 or Baker and Thomas is in the first round. So while I wouldn't necessarily be mad, I would be like, why?
Yeah. If that is the top 100 picks and you do not get a tackle, yes, I would be upset and confused.
Yeah.
Thanks, Cody. Always great questions, buddy. And hopefully, I know we're not there for the draft this year, but I'll be home sometime in the summer. We can have another beer. If the Chiefs decide on defense in the first round, stuck at 32, because of how the board falls and no trade options, who's the best defensive player they could grab right then? Defensive BPA.
That's a good question. I still think Johnny Newton is in play. I don't know if I don't have him as a first round pick. I don't know if the teams are going to. But again, interior pass rush is really a big thing now, and he could go a lot higher than people expect. I want to say that Kool-Aid McKinstry would be available, but I find that hard to believe as well. I think realistically it might be Braylon Trice or Nate Wiggins. I think that's where I'm at.
Evidently, I ain't paying the bills.
Oh, he's not there. I was like, he's not there. I said realistically, I think it could be either Nate Wiggins or Braylon Trice could be the best defensive players on the board at 32.
Yeah, I'm with you on Wiggins. I have him at the top of day 2. I moved Johnny Newton just barely into the top last 3 spots of round 1. So I do think he's definitely in play there. Beyond that, I am hoping. I feel like there's no way Dijon doesn't go in the first round, but I do feel like it's going to be lower than some think. So, like, obviously not stuck at 32, but if they were going to trade up 10 picks, I think he might be there. And I wouldn't do it and I have him on the board as a safety very clearly. So I don't think that the Chiefs would justify that. I like Wiggins. I wonder if the speed testing for Terry Honor might drop him down too. I don't know. Corner is always a little bit more iffy for me because it's such a speed-based position. Sometimes I give guys more leeway than the teams do, and that always catches me by surprise. I like the Braylon Trice one there as well. I hope it's not. I don't have a single first-round linebacker. So if they're stuck on there, I wouldn't like to see them grab Cooper from Texas A&M, but he is the best linebacker on the board. I just hope that it isn't a linebacker because I don't think that's good value.
I agree.
Okay. And man, I'm excited to hear that you have Trice even higher than me. I have him at the top of the 3rd.
Well, I have him in the 2nd round, honestly. Yeah, I think that he's criminally underrated in this draft class, specifically at defensive end, because I have him, higher than Darius Robinson. I've got him higher than Chop Robinson because I think he's more refined and he can live on the outside.
And he can.
I really think he can.
Chop Robinson is an outside linebacker, folks. He's not a defensive end. I'm going to say this until the cows come home or he grows.
I mean, I honestly, I probably shouldn't have this, but I have Marshawn Nealon over Braylon Trice. I probably shouldn't have it there.
Yeah,
I probably shouldn't. But it's the athletic stuff got me, man. The athletic stuff got me.
Yeah, there's that. I get it.
It hurts.
Who is your mystery pick for the Chiefs this year? Somebody you think they have their eye on that just is coming out of nowhere.
Oh man, that's a tough one. But I think we can kind of say it this way. I think Christian Haynes is the mystery pick. Christian Haynes is an interior offensive lineman out of UConn who I have at the top of the 2nd round. And the reason I say that is because future, right? The Chiefs have their eyes on the future. You draft in the trenches and prosper. Christian Haynes is one of the best interior players in this draft. And if you don't, again, Joe Tooney injury, Trey Smith maybe not here next year, Nick Allegretti gone. If they trade back and they acquire another 2nd round pick, that could be one of those 2nd round picks.
I have him squarely, literally the middle position of the 2nd round. Totally agree with you. He would be an instant target.
Yeah.
The sleeper pick for me is going to be the guy in a position group we've already mentioned a couple of times, but the longest arm length at the defensive interior is Fabian Lovett. And I know that Cullen's worked him out personally, and I think that he's a guy they want to invest in because of the traits that they feel they can train the hell out of him. And so he's my deep sleeper. I was going to say that for you guys for tomorrow night, but hey, it's there. I had to put the headphones on, so we might as well just let it all hang out, right?
Do
it. Jesus, thanks, buddy. Who does Avery want in 2nd round? That's the question that's burning for all of us.
All right. Well, if I had to guess, again, green is her favorite color. So we're going based off of, I mean, I'll be very honest with you. I got no idea, guys. It's a tough one. It's a tough
Tulane
one.
Wave player.
She's a dinosaur fan, right? So short arm tackle, right? Someone who's got T-Rex arms, someone who is like a Jordan Morgan or one of these tackles that just, they can't do it. I'll be honest with you. But that's a good one, Jeremy. I like this. I like this one. Avery wants Kool-Aid.
That is pretty.
That's a good one. That you think faster on your feet than I do, my friend. That's good.
Folks, you come here for the football, you get the dad jokes on top of it. It's just the way that it goes. It's awesome. Faithful, thank you, buddy, and appreciate the support. Chiefs don't seem to value the offensive skill players as much as others. Will they start doing that this particular offseason? I don't think much is going to change. If it had, I think they would have gone after a free agent before Hollywood. That's the way it feels to me.
While I don't disagree with you, I think that their draft evaluate, like their draft strategy might change because of it. Because again, they did this on the defense side. They threw bodies at corner. They might do that this year at wide receiver. Like they might do that going forward because they have to change something. Something has to change. Like honestly, I still think Sky Moore can be a good player in Rashee Rice's role. But again, you have Rashee Rice. So that makes him expendable. It just does. Like there's not much you can do about that. You're using a more explosive player in the role that's best fit for your second round pick 2 years ago. That's on you. Honestly, that's on you. Like that's a misevaluation on their part. And that's again, if you guys want my evaluations, just come ask. This is what I asked about. This is what I had about Sky Moore. This is what I had. All right. So just come on in. We can make it work. But that has to change. Something has to change. So you got to throw bodies at wide receiver, in my opinion. See what sticks. They can figure it out with corners. They haven't been able to do that with wide receivers. I think this year it changes and you get them double dipping.
What's the line for you? Because I'm okay if they take 3 in this draft. I don't care. That's my line. If they go over that, if they chose to draft 4 wide receivers, I'd be pissed. But 3 I'm good with. If they go 1 first round, 1 in the third, 1 with one of your 5th round picks, I got 0 questions. If you go 1 on day 2 and 2 with your 5th round picks, I don't care. Figure it out. Right. Get it done. Thank you, Faithful. Appreciate you. Roger, if Braden Fisk falls to the Chiefs in round 2, would you take him? Yes.
This is the answer, by the way, for whoever he wants with the T-Rex arms. I'm very worried about his arms. I'm very worried. Like I love his effort. I love his quickness. He gets caught with any type of power. Immediately he's displaced.
Yep.
It is very troubling for me. So the Chiefs probably would take it. I don't know that I would. And I like him.
I love don't hit the guy in front of you, go hit that gap. I'm here for that. So I'm more comfortable with it than you are, but I get
and you see, put him next to Chris Jones and you have problems because they both do that.
Yeah.
And that's where you could see running right up the middle every single time when you have defense tackles out of their gaps. That scares the crap out of me.
Spags will live with it. You know he will. Nick, nice to see you, and thanks for the support, pal. Did you guys see Emery's breakdown on Keon? I have not. Over Marvin. He had a lot of interesting takes in his guide. Yeah, Emery's got a lot of interesting takes all the time. Some of them are really, really stout, and some of them are like, dude, did you watch different games than I did?
I can't stress this enough. It's hard. It's hard to do what we do. It's hard to be different sometimes. And sometimes I feel like some people are different for different sake. I don't know him personally, but I've seen some of his takes. This doesn't make sense. There's nothing on tape that suggests that he's a better player than Marvin Harrison Jr. There's nothing. Okay. Yeah. And that's coming from someone who also, has some hot takes from this draft class. I do. I have some. Yeah. Thank you for the support, Nick. This doesn't make sense to me. Like, I don't get this one.
Yeah. I don't think Keon's even a fully developed player yet. Whereas Marvin is not only fully developed, but he could be the best in this class. Could be the best in the last 4 classes.
Just thank Michigan State and Florida State for that. 0 development. None.
Yeah. You're absolutely right. Now, could Keon rise to the point where in a situation he has more advantageous position and maybe he's more successful at some point in his career? It's always a possibility, but I don't see it. But good for Emery for sticking to his guns. People are pissed at me too for my number 1 wide receiver because it ain't Marvin Harrison, and that's okay. I didn't put Keon Coleman in that slot. But that's
no. Yours makes more sense though. Like I respect yours.
I appreciate that, and if you didn't, that's okay too. Folks, you'll see the board tomorrow, and you probably already know who it is because I'd never shut up about the dude. But Cav, thanks, buddy. Where do y'all rank Veach among the other GMs? Good question.
He's easily top 3. Easily. Like there's I don't think that, right? I don't think you can have a top 3 conversation without him being there. Do I know if he's the number 1? No. specifically, there are some decisions that I think all teams make some decisions that you would prefer them not to make. Giving Jawan Taylor $20 million, giving Frank Clark $20 million, giving Anthony Hitchens all that money. Like those were earlier in his career. I think now we're seeing a little bit different. Some things have changed, and they're doing, I think, better job of managing the money. Specifically, I think that they still make some reaches at times. I think he's gotten a lot better. In this draft cycle, once again, if he hits again, he will be the number one GM in football, in my opinion. With this, if he goes to like 3 straight, legitimate drafts, maybe even more. Yeah, it's him.
It's about the contribution that each rookie class provides. Championships.
Correct.
He could be up there. I really thought that Brandon Beane was going to be with him, but I think Brandon Beane has really fallen apart in the way that they've had to retool this season. Up until this season, I would have thought he was doing pretty good, but I don't know. Veach is there.
They waited a year too long with their aging players.
Yeah.
The Chiefs, they went the opposite way early. They got out of the way early. Like they saw that cliff coming and they got rid of it. This year, the Bills went all in. They went all in and it didn't work. And that's what happens.
By the way, my favorite comp in this one, this year's Khalil Shakir for me is Jacob Cowing. I just want everybody to know that.
That's fair.
Thoughts on Purdue running back, Tracy? We've already talked to him, but last gasp here.
He can do it all, and he's learning. Like he can do it all, and he's learning. Like I don't know how much you guys have watched this guy. If you haven't, you should go put on a highlight reel. Just go watch it. Just go watch what he can do. Contact balance, receiver, blocking, physically finding space in an offense that he's never done before as a running back. To say I'm excited about the player is probably putting it lightly.
I love it. I'm glad you're excited, and I know he'll go in an area that I'm comfortable with it. So I'm here. Yeehaw! I like it, FLDB. You're approaching 3 years, my friend, in the memberships. If you guys don't know, he takes care of our Discord. It's called Rogue Nation. You can get to it and take a look from the outside. If you want it, you got to become a member here on the channel. At the rookie level or above, it's underneath Dan. If you want to get in there, hang out with Frankie and the guys, it's incredible. And it's a great community. And I couldn't do it unless you helped me. So thank you, buddy. Just one more thing that I got to learn every week. It just ain't happening. But please check it out. And if you guys dig it, the Rogue Nation's awesome. It is a great Discord community. Scuba, thank you, buddy. What are some players that you guys thought were going to be good in the NFL but flopped, and some that you thought were going to be bad and worked out? It's a great question.
That's a loaded question.
I did not think that DK Metcalf would be as serviceable as he has become. I don't know that he's excellent, but he certainly is better than I thought he was going to be.
So far, Evan Neal. I thought Evan Neal was going to be a great tackle, but they did move him out of position. That you could argue that has made a big impact on his career. The big one for me is Hakeem Butler. I loved Hakeem Butler that year coming out. I loved him. We see what has happened. Guys that I thought that weren't going to be good. I mean, we'll just stick with the George Karlaftis stuff. He's clearly outperformed my expectations. Like that's bar none. Well. That's one of the players that, and I didn't even think he was going to be bad. Like, let's put this in perspective. I didn't think he was going to be a bad player.
Yeah.
I just thought we were kind of at the breaking point. Like, what else is he going to do? Like, where else is he going to learn? And he's learned with his hands. He's gotten better with his hands. The key to getting better in the NFL for defensive ends is if you got maybe nowhere else to go, right here. It's right here. If you can use your hands, you can always get to something else. So that's the one player I think where my expectations were. I don't know what he's going to be, what else he can get to. This powerful guy who's learned to use his hands much better. That's the one we can go with.
I thought this guy was going to be really good. I didn't think he was going to become as good as he is now to be the highest paid corner in the league. Jerry Sneed was probably my best pick
that too
going through. So, everybody has misses. Everybody has some good hits. It's just, it's a bit of luck. What day are you going on? How about them Chiefs with Cole?
Tomorrow night, I believe at 8 p.m. Central Time.
Rock on. And I'm going to hook up with him, Justin, sometime after the draft. We just couldn't make it work out beforehand. So It's a great thing. If you guys are new to us or new to anybody in Chiefs Kingdom, all of us content creators in Chiefs Kingdom, we tend to hang out and work together when we can. So can't wait to see it. What do we do in the first round, Longhorn? Thank you. Your last question tonight. Like, sub, hit the bell, folks. We're going to wrap it up on Longhorn's question. Gut feeling right now, what happens?
They stay at stay at 32 and draft a tackle. I don't know who it's going to be, but I think it's going to be a tackle.
Okay. I think there's a small fall. I think Brett gets with Howie Roseman, goes up to 22 and gets my guy Fautano.
I love it.
That's what I think.
You guys, this is going to happen a couple of times during the stream on Thursday where my camera dies. So just letting you guys know. Get ready for it.
We'll get that figured out. We'll get my headphones figured out. We're all going to be here tomorrow. The draft boards drop on NFL 33. They're going to be free tomorrow and for eternity. Those posts will be free. You can download and get the PDFs for your draft day excellence. And we'll also have a video tomorrow. I'm going to break down what my board looks like. Wednesday night, us, KCSN, the draft summit happens here every year, and you're going to see it next 2 days, the night before the draft. And then we'll be live on Thursday. We'll be live on Friday, and we'll be live on Saturday. So be prepared for it. Thanks for being with us tonight. Every last one of you that has joined us, contributed to us, joined the memberships. You guys rock, and this is why
yes, you do
it. So have a great night to Avery, and we'll talk to you all tomorrow.